Hello everyone, it's Kim and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are brand new. Today we are talking about round 2 of the Witch-A-Thon, a readathon that was created by Sam at the Yarn Reader. I am so excited that she asked me to help co-host with a handful of our bookish friends, so let's get started. I'll introduce the teams, tell you all you need to know about round 2 of Witch-A-Thon. So of course, when is the readathon? The readathon is happening August 1st through September 5th, and we are all very excited. So it is 5 weeks long. Plenty of time to get some books read, to fill out those bingo boards, which I will get to shortly, and yeah, so August 1st through September 5th. Next up is the teams. We have 6 teams in total for this readathon, which is going to be so much fun, and we can't wait to see who ends up winning, because we have a bet happening between all of us, and that is whoever reads the most pages, whichever team reads the most pages, that person's team, they get to choose a book for everyone else to read. So we're very excited. It's probably going to get pretty darn competitive. So let me introduce you to the teams and the high priestesses who will be running them. Up first is Sam from the Yarn Reader, and she will be running the Solo Witches team. This team is a group of like-minded witches who love to work with crystals and herbs and dabbles in astrology and divination. So if that sounds like your vibe, check out the Solo Witches. You might just enjoy working alone, but this is the team for you if that is your preference. Next up is Alicia from Books and Things with Alicia, heading up the traditional coven. For this one, these witches, coming from a line of witches in their family where they get a lot of their practices from, so they call into their ancestors when they need the guidance. They also are skilled in herbalism, since most of their spell work involves herbs. So if that sounds like you, if you're family oriented maybe, something like that, this coven might be the right one for you. Alright, next up is our hedge coven. This one is run by Hope from It's Hope Books, and these witches love to play with the Ouija board just to connect with the spirit world. They want to go to the other world and to learn as much as they can. They are pros at divination, especially scrying. So if you are kind of like, you always feel like you're connected to a different realm, or you like to travel maybe, something along that line, enjoy divine moments, that kind of stuff, check out the Hedge Coven, and that is run by Hope. Next up is the coven headed by Morgan from Morgan's Bookshelves, and that is the Cosmic Coven. These witches tend to have their heads in the sky, but they are pretty versed in divination, and they do a lot of work with the energy of the planets. So maybe if you enjoy space and science fiction and the cosmos and horoscopes, that kind of thing, maybe head in this direction and join Morgan at the Cosmic Coven. Next up, we have Katie from Kit Kats Can Read with the Crystal Coven. Lovers of all things shiny and pretty, these witches regularly use their collection of gems and crystals to do chakra work. They are very in tune with the energies around them. So if you feel other people's energies, if you are kind of like aura based maybe, enjoy crystals, enjoy gems, this is the coven for you. So check this one out. And finally is my coven, the Kitchen Coven. This one is for the witches who live in their kitchens, baking and cooking up a storm. They work a lot with herbs and the element in their craft to create their own safe space. I am very excited about being in the Kitchen Coven. I love a good dessert and baking with a cup of coffee, and there will probably be a lot of that happening during this readathon. So I'm very excited. Those are our teams. So many amazing hosts and teams to choose from. I don't know how anyone's gonna actually pick. Like, I'm glad I didn't have to pick, because I probably couldn't have made a decision. So yes, so those are our teams. I will link the Google Doc below that has all of this information for you to dive a bit deeper into each coven and decide where you want to be. But I'm going to turn over towards the Kitchen Coven specifically and show you our bingo board and what our prompts are for the readathon. Alright, so this right here is our bingo board. So on the top row we have a fiery book. So I'm feeling like romance for this, like a fiery, passionate romance kind of book. Or it could be like flames on the cover, something like that. It's very up to, every single prompt is very up to your interpretation, so do with them what you will. The next one is a palette cleanser. For me, this is just something that, like, if I'm in a reading slump, I go to. So like a manga maybe, or a very short book. Something that, like, jumps me back into reading, if that makes sense. Next, we have a book with a recipe. I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head. I know that there's a copy of Kingdom of the Cursed that has a recipe for cannolis in it. The manga Kitchen Princess has recipes, so just a book with a recipe of some kind in it, maybe either within the pages or maybe it just talks about recipes a lot. Then we have Cozy Vibes. I mean, a book that makes you feel all warm and cozy. This could be like a cozy mystery, or maybe it's your favorite book. Whatever makes you feel cozy, go with that. And then finally for this top row, a book set in nature. Any kind of book takes place outside, maybe there's like a camping trip involved, maybe it's a thriller where they're lost in the woods, maybe something like that, something that takes place out in nature will work for this prompt. All right, row number 2, we have plants on the cover. Self-explanatory, any kind of plant on the cover, be it flowers, leaves, vines, trees, any kind of plant will work. Then we have a recommended book. This can be recommended by one of your priestesses. This can be recommended from a friend or family member, or even just a booktube or bookstagram post or video. So any kind of recommendation will do. Next up is a witchy book. So any book that has witches, magic, witchcraft, any kind of thing like that will be perfect. Then we have Priestess Fave. These are listed on our little introduction coven cards in the Google Docs. You can check those out. I will quickly run through my picks for Priestess Fave. For Priestess Fave, for me, I have given a list of The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin, Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and Dark of the West by Joanna Hathaway. Now, I am going to say, I'm going to give everyone who wants to be in the Kitchen Coven, The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin gives you a bingo on this board. This row that I'm talking about right now, if you have The Nature of Witches, like, you are good to go for an entire bingo. So just throwing it out there, just a little hint if you want to get a bingo with one book. And the final prompt for row number 2 is flowers on the cover. So any kind of flowers on the cover. This could be similar to your plants on the cover book if it's both floral. All right, so row number 3, we are going to begin with gods and goddesses. Of course, the first thing that pops in my head is mythological retellings, but any book with gods and goddesses of any kind will do for this prompt. Next up, we have brown book. Self-explanatory, find a book with brown on the cover in some fashion. Then we have our free space. Then we have green book. So once again, similar to brown book, find a book with green on the cover or is a completely green book. And finally, for row 3, we have a smoky cover. So I'm like, when I think of smoky cover, I'm looking for maybe like a candle smoke, or maybe there's some candles lit, or it's hazy, that kind of cover, that kind of vibe. Row number 4, we have horoscope pick. So you're going to pick a book based on your horoscope, whether that's, say, for instance, mine's Aquarius. So maybe I want to do something that has to do with water for like the water bearer, or maybe air. So maybe there's some like clouds on the cover or something like that. Take it, that's a little literal. If you want to go conceptual, maybe look at your horoscope for that particular day that you want to do this prompt and pick a book based on that. Our next one is tarot card on the cover. Pretty self-explanatory on that one. Find a book that has a tarot suit of some kind on the cover or a card. So maybe like there's a Grim Reaper on the cover. That could be a symbol for death, so you could use that. You could do cups, swords, pentacles, and what is the last one? Wands. There we go. There's the tarot suit. So that kind of thing for tarot card on the cover could work. Then we have a good vibes book. If this book just gives you good vibes, if it makes you happy, use it for this prompt. That's what I'm going with. If it makes you happy and makes you feel good, use it for this prompt. Then we have a shiny cover. I am going with like maybe a full shiny cover, or maybe just some little holographic accents. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue could work for this. It does have a few special editions that have shiny lettering. So, and that would also work for Priestess Fave. So keep that in mind while you're choosing books. And then finally, for row 4, we have anticipated read. What is a book that you have been wanting to read or anticipating this year, or maybe just in general you've been really wanting to read this book? And our final row is Dark Academia. I love me some Dark Academia, plus Ninth House, Leigh Bardugo. On the Priestess Fave list is Dark Academia. So you can easily get 2 squares marked off on your bingo board with that one as well. So I'm really excited. Anything that takes place in like a boarding school setting, anything like that. Dark magic in an academic setting is perfect for dark academia. Next up is a Fae book. So, I mean, I'm gonna give some very generic, like obvious book choices. Anything by Sarah J. Maas will work, as well as Holly Black has a lot of books that take place in the Fae, so any of those will work as well. And then we have a 400+ page book. So this is pretty much like the big one off of this bingo board, I feel like, is the 400-page book. Those can be slightly intimidating. It's not overly long, which is good, but it is still a fairly big book. So maybe try to knock out a couple prompts or two with this one. That might be the best way to do that. Our second to last prompt is a reread. For this, I would say go maybe reread your favorite book, or maybe reread a short book to get some page counts in there, or reread a book in a series that you need to reread before you read the next one. That's what I think of when I think of rereading a book. And finally, our final prompt for our bingo board that you will need to get is food on the cover. It is the Kitchen Coven, of course, so any book with food on the cover. I would personally go towards maybe like desserts, like some cupcakes or cake. Maybe a cozy mystery for that would work really well. But yes, food on the cover is the final prompt on our bingo board. Alright everyone, that is it for all the information you need for Witch-A-Thon Round 2. I will link everything down below in the description. That includes the Discord and the Google Docs. So you have everything you need and all the information to join a coven and have a great time with the ReadAthon in August. So remember to join us August 1st through September 5th. There is an extra week tacked on at the end of this ReadAthon, and we are so excited to have you all join us. So until then, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and comment down below which coven you are thinking of joining. I will not be upset if you don't join mine, I promise. I will not hex you, I swear. I promise I won't. I will just bring you cookies and sway you to my side with the good noms. That is my plan. So take care everyone, happy reading, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.